So it's raining today, and I focused my work on shop front work, and every so often when I work in areas I pick up work from other window cleaners. They're either traditional window cleaners that work slow, they either walk away from their work because they're not earning any money at doing these shop front work, jobs, or they're either water-fed pole window cleaners that don't use a squeegee at all, or they do use the squeegee for inside work, but again, they're not making any money on these jobs because they're ineffective and inefficient with their tools. Now these two windows here, and I'm working indoors, and these windows do need cleaning because we've got this room decorated, we've got plaster and all sorts of muck on the glass, but they're not that dirty because my wife, she works very cleanly. Now, when you're working, one job often leads to another job. So for this particular, the guy I've got in my mind, who's a traditional window cleaner, the owner of the shop was always annoyed when he was working inside because everything he was doing, when it comes, using the squeegee, he was making a mess, leaving the floor wet, leaving the sills wet, leaving the counter wet, and the window cleaner thought, I ain't doing this anymore because I'm getting told off. So he had a certain soap solution, he had a certain way of working, and he was using a simple tool, and this is a simple tool too, and it's one size tool fits all for this guy, and very basic way of working. So the other window cleaner that I picked up work from, who was a water-fed pole window cleaner, and he doesn't even own a squeegee anymore. He has no time to do these jobs because he doesn't make any money on these jobs, because it's the way that he works. If he changed the way that he did things and became a more rounded window cleaner, and he had more work in that area, perhaps he would stick to doing that job. But anyway, I've got these two jobs for two different window cleaners, and I do quite a lot of the other shops around there, so it suited me. So the problem with working indoors, one job leads to another, and if you don't fix that job, then you might get moaned at, like this window cleaner did. The other window cleaner, water-fed pole window cleaner, said we don't use simple tools anymore, so we don't do these jobs, these low-paying jobs like shop front windows, and we don't use simple tools. They use water-fed pole systems, and think how complicated a water-fed pole system is. You've got the pump, you've got the resin, you've got the RO system, you've got the hoses, and all the other filters that go with it, and you've got the hose that goes into the from the reel into the pole. You've got the clamps, you've got the brush, you've got the rinse bar. There's lots involved, but actually doing the job itself is quite simple, straightforward. And if you think of painters, but people who can paint pictures, they're using a very simple tool, but they can do very complex things with it. And thousands of years ago, people made things out of, hand tools, like they could make the pyramids and stuff like that. So very simple tools, but you can do quite intricate, complicated things with these simple tools. So the mindset of many window cleaners, I find, is they'll just give any excuse to fob something off, and obviously never focusing on the problem itself, which is themselves. Right, so what do I need to do to stop me making a load of mess inside? So let's mop this window up. I haven't got my work belt on, so I'm going to have to work a bit awkwardly for myself. But another thing I should say is I watched a video yesterday of the window cleaner. He's 5 years old, well-known window cleaner. He was moaning that the new Dawn soap that he was using was making his hands sore, and I was thinking, well, just wear gloves. I think he did start wearing gloves after a while, but if your hands keep getting sore, wear gloves. If, let's say, you're working on a building site and nuts and bolts keeps falling on your head, probably a good idea to wear a hard hat. I don't know what it is with window cleaners, but they always find to do things the most awkward convoluted way, always fighting against the grain. So what I need to do, first of all, is, let's say this is dirtier than it is, I can still feel the dirt and dust. I'm going to use my hand scrubber, lift up as much dirt as possible. But first of all, got a bigger washer, and it's quite a big size squeegee for this window. I need to control everything, so this soap solution is under control because it's nice and static. So not only is it static, it's thick, so it's pulling off that dirt off the window, and I can focus on controlling that dirt. Now, one window cleaner suggests, why don't I, if I can do a minimum move, why don't I want to focus on doing a minimum move on windows that is going to get my windows cleaned even quicker. So outside it's fine, but I need to use the right type of technique for the situation that I'm working in. So, you know, I'm talking about being adaptable and versatile, which is, well, makes perfect sense to me, but for a lot of people, they just work like robots. Now, I could do a minimum move here, but just like that window cleaner that kept making a load of mess, he was an expert at doing straight pulls. So a minimum move is quite like a straight pull in terms of I'm taking off a load of solution all in one go. So yeah, I can get the windows clean quicker, but when I'm coming down here, I've got loads of solution coming down. Now, being versatile and adaptable, I don't want that extra mess, and obviously most people watching this video would all be thinking the same and doing the same thing. Yeah, it's nice and static, but if I'm taking a load of solution off in one go, I'm going to create too much mess. So I want to come down the window, I only want to bend down once as well, and control that solution on my quite large washer, and I'm going to put that away now because I don't need this. And then I can just fix up whatever residue needs fixing up afterwards. And what I'll do is I'll use my wife's t-shirt to mop up here, and that's done. They weren't filthy dirty, but I could feel the dirt on the washer, so I used my gloves. So very simple solutions. What am I trying to get at in this video? It's not really the actual tool itself. It's, again, think about what you're doing and what is the best way of approaching each and every job, trying to get things done with the least work or mess cleanup, or you know, choose which tool size you're going to use, what side of technique. But the things that always stay stagnant, the same, let's say, stagnant, yeah, the same. I want that stagnant solution. I want a wet washer, not too wet inside, but I want that solution fixed. And I want that good glide, I want that good cleaning ability. And things just fall into place. It's like, you got this jigsaw, you got all the pieces, but if you're anything like me, you'll spend hours just trying to find the first few pieces to fit together. When you've got the answers to these jigsaw puzzles, things just slot together very simply. So again, my competition, either on YouTube or the window cleaners around where I live, there is no competition because they work very convoluted. They don't think things as thoroughly. And listen, I ain't clever at all. If I was clever, I wouldn't be a window cleaner. But I found out when I was working the first few years, it took me 2.5, 3 years to learn how to fan a window. But once I could do that, things just kind of fitted in very well together. Use the right size tools, the right type of techniques. Don't work the same all the time. Because if you do the same things over and over and over again, each individual job and thing you're doing requires a little bit of change. If you do the same things all the time, then you're like all these window cleaners demonstrating on YouTube. Yeah, they can use the tools, but they can't use the tools very well. Very simple tools, but they can't use them very well. I can use simple tools, but I can use them well. So hopefully this will help a few people who struggle working indoors, reducing their work with making a mess, getting told off by customers, or even worse, people slipping on a wet floor. Just evolve, adapt, think about what the possibilities is, and if you have got problems with your hands, just buy some waterproof gloves and learn how to use your tools with your gloves. There's no right or wrong way of doing anything or running your business. If you want to be a water-fed pole window cleaner and that's all you want to do, that's great. If you want to be a one-handed squeegee user, that's great. But there's always opportunities for more rounded window cleaners to take work, not only from other people who are doing the job not so well, but the more well-rounded you are, the more work you're going to get, basically. So take those notes on board, and remember, don't work like anybody on YouTube. Find out what works for you and improve on that.